Yay. Still in bed. Good gravy. Day 11. I'm just done. I am so done with this. Like last night I couldn't sleep. It's not so much my elbow, I guess. It's more like my forearm. But like the very top of that is where my elbow is. So this is like my forearm where that thermal care things where they get hot and stuff. So I decided to put one on there just to see if that would like help maybe loosen up the muscles a little bit. Ice on my shoulder. It hurts. So I'm not even buckled in my sling. There's my buckle. I'm like, no. So my arms actually like lean like sort of kind of flat, maybe just stretch out those muscles along with holding that, having that thermal thing on there. But it's resting on a pillow, so it's not like totally flat, and my shoulder's still in the same spot. It always is. This morning I got a little creative with my sleeping because it was like I could not sleep last night to save my life because my forearm muscles, where that thermocare patch dealy mabooer is, it just hurt so bad, and it was like I couldn't get comfortable. So I decided I was going to sleep on my right side a little bit. So I had a pillow propped up right behind me. And then I had a pillow in front of me that I had my arm resting on. Because, I have to sleep on my sling. So I had a pillow where my hand could rest on it. So it's not putting so much pressure on my shoulder. And I swear to God, I've never slept so good in my life. It was the best 2 hours of sleep. After that, it was like I couldn't sleep anymore. I couldn't get comfortable. That's kind of like how it's been going for the most part. Sleep for a few hours, get up for a few hours. Sleep for a few hours, get up for a few hours. And it's just, I'm done. I'm ready just to sleep through the night, get up, and go about my day. Like this sleeping for a few hours, staying up for a few hours, sleeping for a few hours, staying up for a few hours. It's getting really, really old. I'm not having this whatsoever. I don't recommend it. I'm not the type of person just to lay in bed constantly. So it's like, I mean, you always wish, I think that's like a wish of an adult to be able to be off work for so long and just to lay in bed, and it's like after the first 2 days, 2 days are nice. Okay. After that, it's kind of like, okay. Like, this is getting old. I'm tired of being constrained to my bed, pretty much. Constrained to this thing. Like, that's my lifeline right now, is my ice machine. So it's just, I don't know. I mean, you think it sounds good, and then you live it, and you're just like, nah. It's like, nope. Not interested. So... yay. But the good thing is my niece has started school, so we get up at 7:15 in the morning, and well, I don't, I guess. My husband gets her up and takes her to daycare. They get there about 8 o'clock so she can have breakfast with all her classmates and stuff, and it's about the normal time school would start and whatnot. So we... at least, I don't want to say that. At least we don't have to worry about taking care of her. But, it's kind of a good thing because, that way we don't have that added stress of having to entertain her and things like that, like. So I'm glad she started school this week. It makes this week really, really great. Because she gets a little rambunctious. She's hurt my shoulder a few times being, who she is, so but yeah, that was kind of a long ramble, and plus I'm excited that she's starting school, so just means she's getting older and super smart. Oh my God, she's so smart. But Anyways, that's for a different day. This is, of course, Two-Face sleeping with me when I'm passed out. It's the cutest thing in the world. I love her so much. She's my snuggle butts. So the lighting is pretty bad, but whatever. We're going to roll with it. We said it was, what, day 12?
Day 12.
So there was a complication yesterday. The pain that I was having in my arm, I got pretty concerned because it was like my arm was starting to swell, and I'm like, okay, my arm wasn't swollen after surgery, and now all of a sudden it's swollen. So I'm like, what in the world's going on? I'm like, this can't be normal. What did I Google the first time? I think I Googled, like, why does my arm, like, if I had shoulder surgery, why does my elbow hurt, or something like that, and it kind of led into blood clot. So then I was like, okay, so what are the symptoms of a blood clot in an arm? That's the next thing I Googled. And then it was like pretty much everything on that list was what I was experiencing. Like, I had severe pain, like it was like, it was weird. So I was like, oh shit, and so then it was like, oh, see emergency professional or whatever's right away.
Well, contact your doctor.
Well, yeah. And so I told him about it, and we kind of talked a little bit, and then we're like, well, we should probably go. And then it was like, do we go to acute care or do we go to the emergency room? Well, I chose to just go to acute care because I was just like, okay, well, it's probably nothing. I'm probably being dramatic. And then we get there. We weren't there for very long. What time did we go there? Do you remember?
5:30, 6 o'clock-ish.
Yeah, I think you're right. Somewhere at that point. And I get in there, and he kind of pokes around a little bit. He's like, well, I don't think it's a blood clot, but...
Well, first of all, he says he doesn't think it's a blood clot because they gave her aspirin to take to prevent blood clots. But when he started feeling around, and I don't know if she noticed this or not, where he got to the point to the part of her arm where she actually was having pain, he kind of got that look on his face of, well, maybe this is a blood clot kind of thing.
Well, yeah, because he was pushing, like, somewhere over, like, where, like, a muscle is, and I'm assuming because I have a sling, your muscle will get tired, but it's not, the pain I was having wasn't, like, a muscle ache, and even if I took, like, my hydros or whatever, it didn't fully get rid of the pain, so it wasn't like you know what I mean?
Yeah, but he started poking around the muscle, and that wasn't really hurting you.
Right.
But when he got to the point where a vein might be, that's when it started hurting, and that's when he kind of got that look on his face of...
I guess I didn't notice because...
This is.
Yeah, he poked where it hurt, so I was like, ow.
Yeah.
That was what I was more concerned about. So then...
When he was poking around the muscle, he was like, these muscles get tight. He's like, I can feel the tightness in here. And you weren't really, like, in pain when he was doing that, and... He started poking lower, and he goes, this is where the vein would be, and that's where you go out. And so then he kind of got that look of, okay, maybe this is a blood clot on his face.
Yeah. And so he was going to order...
Oh, ultrasound.
Yeah, an ultrasound. But then, for whatever reason, it got switched around, and they're like, no, they need to go to the emergency room.
And the reason is because if they ordered the ultrasound, it would take them a few days to get the results back. Whereas if she went to the emergency room, she could get it that same day.
Right. And get it done and taken care of and start the process and all that. And so we ended up going to the emergency room anyways. So we get there, it was about 6:30?
No, it was
almost
between
7?
7:30.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, because it was 7:30ish when Josh came and picked Calita up.
Oh, okay. So then, of course, my niece, lives with us or whatever, and her bedtime's 8. So we're like, okay, well, the emergency room or the waiting room is just like full of people. So it's like, we know we're going to be there for a while. And so we had my brother come and pick my niece up and take her to grandma's. And then we ended up finding out, or they gave me an ultrasound when we finally got back in there. And come to find out, I think there was 3 or 4.
At least 3 or 4.
Yeah, there was like some that were like on the surface, and then there were some that were deeper in there. So, yeah. Like, I'm still like trying to process that because I'm just like, I hear blood clot and I think automatically, oh my God, I'm gonna die.
That's not the case.
Well, I get that, but at the same time, like my brain's like, oh my God, I don't just have one blood clot, I have several, you know, and it's like, holy crap, you know, it's like, what if one of those would have,
Yes, it could have
Traveled.
caused- Yeah.
you know? So that's really scary, but so they get the ultrasound done, you know, they find that I have blood clots and this, that, and the other thing. So then now there's a big old long process that I have to go through. And it's just, oh my God. Like, it just, there's so much more now that I have to do on top of everything for my shoulder, you know. So they started me on two different meds.
Mm-hmm.
What are they called? Do you remember?
One.
I have the paperwork if you need it.
Here, let me see it because I don't want to butcher the name.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, here's this one.
One was. Well, it's called enoxaparin or Lovenox.
Is that the...
That's the shot.
Yeah. Okay, so there's that shot, right? So I have the receipt here from the pharmacy. I'm going to fold it so my address doesn't show.
Thank goodness for
Yeah.
insurance.
No. Shit. I'm going to try to show this. This is like the original price right here. Okay? And that's what it originally was. This is what we paid for it. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm hoping that's in focus. But yeah, that's the original price. And this is what we paid for it. So it ended up being almost like $75 a shot because I only got 10 of those. So there's that.
And then
And
the other one
then-
is called warfarin, aka the generic for Coumadin.
So with that one, you have to go in and get tests done to see where your blood,
levels are.
yeah, where your blood clotting levels are. To see
Once
like,
or twice a week, I probably.
oh, is that what it
I
was?
think so.
Okay. And to like adjust your levels on like how many milligrams you're going to get of that, depending on where your levels are, and they want to just kind of, I don't know, it's, oh my gosh. And they say could be like 3-6 months, it could be up to a year. I mean, obviously it probably could be longer, but since it's with surgery, I'm assuming it's, you know, it's just not gonna take that long. But
Yeah.
it's going to be a very long process now, and next week on top of doing all that, I'm probably going to be starting physical therapy for my shoulder. It's a mess. It is an absolute mess right now. So
Would you like to tell them about the headache of how we had to go all over town looking for the
ugh,
shot?
yeah, no kidding, right?
So basically, the emergency department sent that one straight to the pharmacy last night so that it would be pretty much ready right away this morning because you have to take the shot every 12 hours and they want you to take it pretty much at the 12-hour mark, as close as you could possibly get it. Well, of course, we didn't get out of the emergency room until after midnight last night, so we kind of slept in this morning. When I got up, she had a text message on her phone saying, oh, we're out of this med, so we had to order it. It's going to take 1 to 2 days.
That's not gonna
Didn't
work.
So we went over there and had to ask them a few questions, and finally we called another pharmacy and they're like, yeah, we have it, we can get it transferred over here. So basically had to run all around town trying to get this med filled. And
yeah.
when we got there, we were already pretty much 2 hours past the 12-hour mark from when she got the initial shot last night. And the pharmacist was talking to her and was like, so when is your next one due? And I looked at the pharmacist and go, about 2 hours ago. She was like, oh, you better get this out here and get going then.
Yeah, and so we were sitting in the car, and I'm like, I'm trying to lift up my shirt to take the shot because you have to put it in your stomach. And I'm like, I can't see because my sling's on. So then he had to give me the shot. What does he do? He pulls one out and he breaks it. $75 down the pooper.
Hey, first of all, we didn't have to pay for it.
He broke
Second
it.
of all, you would think on something that's preloaded into a syringe that they would have it so the stopper would not come out of it.
Yeah, you would think, but
Because that's what happened. I went to open it up and the stopper pulls out. Needless to say, I got covered in the medication.
he broke it. So today has been pretty eventful because, you know, running clear across town. You're familiar with Sioux Falls. You're right. So like 41st and Louise all the way over to 10th and Parkway. So
Arrowhead.
yeah, or Arrowhead Parkway. Yeah. So it was like clear. It was a nightmare. It was an absolute freaking nightmare. And today hasn't been bad. I just got a really, really bad headache. We went ahead and bought some Tylenol because that's the only thing we can use right now with blood thinners. So I'm just terrified because it's like the medications, they don't get rid of the blood clot. They just prevent it from getting bigger. So I still have it. So like, I don't know. It just kind of freaks me out a little bit to know that. So they're like, oh yeah, sometimes the medication may not work. You still could have this, and it's just like, oh my God. And then it's like my mind goes from 0 to 60, and especially with a headache, it's like, oh my God, am I gonna, a brain or do I have a bleed on the brain or
An aneurysm.
yeah? So just terrifies me.
Let this be a lesson. Don't Google stuff. Call a doctor.
Hey, Google
was right in this situation. She
For
did have
once.
a blood clot. Ask her how many times she's Googled stuff and how many times Google has been right.
Exactly. But, but it's just like you jump to all these conclusions, and I've never had surgery before, so I've never had these many complications, and it's terrifying to know that this could have potentially gone very, very wrong. I mean, it still could potentially go very wrong, but that's the scary part.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that the dose is too high, the 5 milligrams, and that's why I have this massive headache.
Well, they told you that's why they do the blood work, and they'll get it adjusted for you.
So I'm hoping that this headache isn't going to be a constant thing, because it's really annoying. Because last night I woke up and I was freaking out because I was like, oh my God, am I gonna die? Do I have another blood clot? I remember asking you that last night.
Yeah, I remember you asking me that too.
And then you said,
even though I was half asleep, and I don't remember what I said.
Yeah. He's like, no, just go back to sleep. And I'm just like, but what if I'm gonna die? And you're like, you're not gonna die. And I'll just go to bed. And I was like, okay. Because I slept so good last night. Because my arm is wrapped.
I'm not gonna lie, I slept pretty good last night too.
It was probably the best night of sleep I've had since surgery. But, yeah, they gave me a couple of ACE bandages to wrap my arm. So it's wrapped in here for compression. So hopefully it
Helps get rid of the blood clots.
Thanks. Hope, So that's where we are. I mean, today my shoulder hasn't really been an issue.
If she were to have an uncontrollable bleed or something like that, if she went to the emergency room, they could give her vitamin K, I think it was.
Yeah,
and it automatically reverses the effects of the blood thinner. And so that's why she has to stay away from some green veggies.
Yeah, and they gave me.
Give me some blood thinner.
Yeah, it's like I got a stack of paperwork, that has all the information, what to avoid and this, that, and the other thing. It's not just green veggies. I see there was tuna on the list too. So.
Oh, I like tuna. It's a good thing you didn't get the tuna special.
Yeah. So. But yeah.
And in all actuality, they said that you don't necessarily have to avoid these foods if you already eat them. You just don't want to eat. Basically, if you're going to eat them, you need to eat them on a regular basis.
Yeah, because it affects
certain days a week, because it could affect the level of your medication that you need to take. to offset
What's that one called?
the warfarin.
The warfarin's the pill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it offset that to
Mm-hmm.
where like, you know, if you ate a bunch one week, they would have to like lower your medication increase
for that.
Oh yeah. They would have to increase your meds for that week, and then the next week,
if you didn't eat a lot of the green veggies,
then you're getting too much.
Yeah.
So
you'd be getting too much of it.
Right.
Kind of thing. So he said if you do eat them on like a set schedule, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't offset your levels.
So.
Everybody was really nice.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I had a pretty good experience. I mean, even though we were in the emergency room for what?
Oof. We got there between 7 and 7:30. We didn't leave there till after midnight.
So
4.5, 5 hours.
Ish. And it was like, when we first got there, they called us back to take vitals and stuff like that. And then we had to go back out to the emergency room because they were so busy. And they're like, well, we're still waiting on rooms. We're trying to kick people out. So it was just nuts. It was
crazy busy in there last night.
It was a nightmare.
But everything worked out.
Yeah. We caught it in time, so me being dramatic actually paid off this time.
This time. Google is not your friend.
No, it's not your friend. I do not recommend it.
When it comes to medical stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, I know that's a lot of information just kind of thrown at you guys, but that's kind of what, life is looking like today and as of last night. So, but yeah, it's just, you just hope it, the surgery turns out okay. You don't think of like all the after effects, it's like, it's crazy. But I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions or whatever, you can just leave some comments down below and I'll try to answer them the best as possible. Of course, I'm not a doctor. Don't Google anything. That's a no-go. But yeah, today is filled with that. So, yeah. Incisions are looking good. And here's to another day, I guess. Now he's got to go downstairs and make carrot cake.
Yeah. People at work are counting on me.
Is she a lieutenant? Sergeant. His sergeant wants this damn carrot cake, so I better let him go to do that. So thank you guys so much, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye, guys.